Good morning. Coming to you on great Wednesday, November 14th, 2018 at 0500 hours, 45 minutes. This one is not going to be long. I hope you slept well. I hope you went to bed putting. I found this to be as a work. Keep saying this lately, the last 2 days. When you go to bed, listen and watch everything that can build you up. I learned this because when you go to sleep, your brain basically works off of the last thing you read, seen, or heard. So start looking at, seeing, and hearing, especially if whatever your strongest way to show you to challenge you and to guide you. If it's audio, listen to audio. If it's visual, watch it visually, but you're still listening. And if it's both or it's another one they call it, do that as well. Listen or watch. Those are the main two things is how you receive information. So do those before you go to bed. So when you wake up, your mind is set. It's all ready to be better. Because you wake up most of the time. What you listen to, what do you watch? See, I don't have a problem with it because I already have basically guided my mind into knowing to decipher a lot of things. I won't get hurt from being around a lot of hurt people. But I would lose my energies. My energies will be different than it was before. So I have to safeguard, protect myself from bad energies. And that goes into what the topic is uplifting. I put self, me, us, family. Just think about all the areas that need uplifting in your life. That's another aspect that we don't mention. Just like we don't talk about genuity, being genuine, being generous, being kind to people, being loving, caring, loving no more. We're turning it back into a society. What got us into where we at? Like people don't understand. If the word love in the element, love is an element, it's a real substance, is visible, was never in this the structure of man or design, or was never fashioned or groomed into us, that right there actually helped. Because without love, now it can sound funny, whatever it was called before, let's say love is not the original word. Without love, we have war, racism, and poverty. And I keep hearing everybody doing this research, and they keep saying love was never part of the society in 1100, 1000, or BC, 600 BC. I feel as okay, well, I'm happy now is part of society because if it wouldn't, we'd be I would be a different type of person. People say I smile a lot. And I remember this one time, it was I when I get why do I smile so much from married people, people that have all of their family. There is I meet some great people in my life. People, family members that's not murderers, people in family that's not in jail or prison. They have degrees. They are good people overall. They run businesses. Now, as I learned, my sister does this. I keep seeing things on this lately as well, just like the other gentleman. So he covered it. He go by Red Supreme TV, and he don't bash women either. He just say like he say he's giving you game. If you listen to what he actually said, it's not bashing people. It's not bashing women. But then there's people that are bashing women, like a Tommy Sotomayor type of person. You could tell like he's blaming women for their actions. So bashing women, if I say, well, you blaming me, it's not going to get you a man. That's not bashing a woman. And he said, women, you're talking about your degrees. My sister does this. Your good degrees and income never got a man. And he said this. It was so profound. His name Red Supreme. I recommend him because I listened to him. And then if he say things that's not on line of how I think, I say, okay, that's just one thing. I wouldn't make him a guy that I wouldn't still listen to. And that don't make him not a leader. because he's uplifting. He's giving you. So somebody gonna say, I ran game my whole life. I got a different aspect of how to run game. Now I'm gonna run game this way. But in this game, I'm gonna play it the right way. I'm gonna give you information that you may not have thought about. And what he said, he told women their degrees is not what a man desire. And from a man, even from a man perspective, just because I have a degree, I don't want. That's not what a woman desire. I keep talking to women, and he said this. This was the strong, important phrase. He said, "How did he put it?" He said, "Oh, the way, what's the way he put it? It was a word." He said, "How?" He said, "Blank blank to women, the before degrees." He was basically saying the way women were, the way women behavior, the great attitudes, personality, the characters of a woman, feminine, or how you was being feminine. How like I hate when they say masculine and feminine was here before degrees. You got to think about that. Before there was a piece of paper saying I went to school for 2 years, 4 years, 6 years. I earned this type of I utilized this because I learned as I got both of 2 degrees, they both associates and a certification. You know which one meant the most to me? The one when I learned the skill. That was a more the vocational training and the certification because what it did, it showed me the actual job. It gave me the actual skill. It's a lay down carpet. I went to a program to lay down carpet. No, what was this one for? Yes, it was basically construction. It literally showed me all of the if I was going to take this right now into a real life career, I don't need to go to a company, no nothing. I can start my own business right now. It gave me a skill where I will always have work. Now I'm a degree, it don't give you a skill where you always have work. So you already that degree is new. The degree is they didn't have degrees back then. And there's a dudes that make billions of dollars right now. They don't have degrees. People that never step foot in college. Some people didn't even graduate high school. They don't have a degree. They use their resources that they already had, the information, their mind. They may not even be like, and it don't excite great relationship. It don't cite that that's a good person. So if we get back to uplifting, and the first uplifting is yourself. Every day we wake up, we live life, we're born. And this was a sad story. This story is very sad. We get story from women, and women don't want to hear our stories, but when we hear our stories, other women love it. Some women would say, this is a questionable one. It's this young lady. She put her story on the internet. She she grew up in the South. She was a dark-skinned African native descent woman. The men around her never liked her. They never called her anything. They didn't even never pay her no attention. And one day she met an Asian man. He called her beautiful. And so many years later, now they're married. And that got me to thinking. I was like, I was talking to a lady. She said I was looking for validation. I wasn't so much looking for a validation. I was looking for my women to stop. And this is the crazy thing about society now. When you open doors for women, they don't say thank you, but they love chivalry. Women won't reciprocate, but they love for you to pay for things, regardless if they have a whole bunch of money or not. On first dates, this is my new for me to make me to help me. I don't pay for dates. I always tell a woman when I get to know her, we go. I'm no longer paying for a date. I was gonna ask a woman out, and then I say, hold on. I'm probably like, I want to ask you out, but I don't pay for first date. Would you go out with me still? She said no. I said thank you. I don't have to ask you out no more. And I wasn't trying to be funny to her because she was my first one. I was like, no longer at 35, no longer. Because what you would get, imagine paying for 5 dates in a year. And they don't have to be a lot, but think about because a date will at least cost you $60 to $100. I don't care if you go into a place where it don't cost money, because of what'll happen. You will want to spend time with her. People and we're training our young women. We're fostering, nurturing, and breeding. Time is money. Secure a bag. We allow the ones that was corrupting our neighboring surrounding to lead us on the journey of path of separation and divide, because they was hurt or they seen no other way about life. The small percentage, the percentage of African native descent men has actually dropped by 2% getting married. Now, nobody think that's a big deal. It was a piece of information I looked up. The last time, because that showed the camaraderie, that showed the togetherness. When the togetherness dropped by 2%, the next year it dropped by almost 5 to 8%. And it will continue to decrease because we see no reason and no value in each other. Think about that. We see a value in a degree before we see a value in having a family. Think about, if we really talking about Black Power, the movement, the struggles to be better as a become a community. Think about the less togetherness we're doing now. That's not uplifting. I'm not saying we have to be with our own race of people, but that young lady that was excited by the word beautiful. This is the sad part. She lived at home. Her sister, her male friends, her family, she never heard the word being called beautiful. So when I heard my mother call me handsome, it was no longer a big deal. That was your first validation as your parents. So she must have been treated differently by her family. But they want to use the colorism instead of saying, well, and I thought about this. She went up to 20, maybe 20, 19, and a young man never called her beautiful of the same race. I thought about this and I said, not to be funny, I maybe a lot of men don't find her attractive. And I was like, that's not a diss. And I'm learning this. A lot of now, this is not a diss. I'm not the most attractive. I have women call me a piece of shit. I look like a piece of shit to my face, and they was dark skinned women. And with that being said, I never not uplifted my dark skinned women my whole life. I was mainly attracted to dark skinned women. At some point, I think I was in the all white school. I liked this two white girls, but then one turned out to be very strange because she had to get 90s on her test and 100. And I was sitting there like, it's not that serious. She had a breakdown on the test and they helped her. Exam, end of the year exam, they helped her because she was breaking down because she was getting the answers wrong and she knows she didn't know the answers. I knew more answers than her because her parents perfected her. And I guarantee you at home, it was so much hate being spoken to her. They didn't uplift this young lady. That's why she broke down for the test. It was perfection. She was a Caucasus lady. And I guarantee your family said bad things about other races of people. Kind of like treated people based off their. See, her intelligence held lied in her school. Instead of building her up to be a young lady, like, all right, you can give her a balance. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with having hundreds and 90s and trying to be valedictorian in school. Nothing's wrong. It's a system anyway. It's indoctrination. I'm not going to diss it because it helps a lot of people. If it helps the person that can take the time out and work their way through. It's problem solving. There's nothing wrong with college or schooling. It's just that it's just not enough for information. I say it like this. Go and edu, you have to go out. So that means you have to leave the school doorsteps. You have to choose a topic and go educate yourself. You have to go learn on your own. I'm not going to never diss college or school, but don't let that be your predominantly understanding of education. School and college is a higher learning because it don't explain what we've been through. Like for me to educate just for about history on my own people, that wasn't in the schools. That wasn't in the colleges. I don't care what course you're studying. I don't care what class you're taking up, what type of diploma, what you're gonna skill you go not whatever not skill, but it's going for business. You're going to go for a doctor. that has nothing to do with educating yourself. You actually gotta go to the library or go and talk to people to learn more about what you're going to do in this career. It's going to be your profession for your life. If you don't do that, you're not going to know nothing. You're going to be the same type of person that was when you got there and when you leave. You didn't get better. I never heard a person say, well, my college experience helped me grow or it helped me mature as a young man and as a young woman. Never heard that. Or I never heard nobody say, think about that. Think about that. Why have your college experience helped you grow as a man or a woman? And I can tell you that hell to the no. Not one person would ever say that. If they are, they're lying. Because because the education, I'm talking about what you did. I'm talking about the actual school you went to in the college. How did it enhance your life? I'm not talking about being part of alumni. I'm talking about uplifting you. Your how it made you a better person inside. College don't humble you. That's a stupid word. I'm learning that. It don't give you more sense of pride or proudness. Oh, I finished a 4-year degree. Well, 50,000 other people just did the same thing, and that's at one school. I got a school in this city. Like 20,000 people graduate every year. 10,000 at least. So imagine that other big colleges. It's called the University, but the Division One school. You got a school called Duke. You got a school that's in North Carolina called North Carolina. No, Houston. You got a school at Houston. University of Kentucky. We go all around. University of New York. So imagine 5 to 10,000 people graduating every year around May, and you graduate too. So think about how minute that is compared to wow. If only two people, if college if it was really hard, two people will only graduate. If you really had to go out and educate yourself, not too many people will graduate because most people go to college are young people that just got out of high school, or after a while you become busy and you try to take up another. You trying to learn. You trying to just get this little paper so you can go. Imagine if they was just going to teach or train or show people and challenge and guide them. Just if I want to be a nurse, show me all I need to do to be a nurse. Give me all the ins and out. I don't need I don't need to take up a typing class. I don't need some weird class, some English class. If I'm taking nursing, I'm quite sure I know English by now. And if I'm having trouble with certain English words, so be it. That's not going to make me a better nurse. That's not going. That's the field I'm in. I'm not going to be a better nurse by taking a math class. What is the equations I need so I can give the people the right medicine? I can do basic 1, 2, 3, 4. What how many pills are there? How many do they don't need? Why is it complicated? Why you got to make up a stupid math problem? And that's the thing. That's indoctrination. That's trying to separate you, just like this Common Core math. But that's getting out of the subject. So she thought she wasn't beautiful. So in her mind, and that to me, well, a lot of men after a certain age, my nephew would never talk to her because he'd have looked at her like just the word beautiful, and you married the only guy though, that I guess that called you beautiful. You married him, and I had thought about this. Also, do both. You got to go around that whole circle. Don't stay in one area in that one spot, that one dot. We're gonna connect these dots. How is her attitude? I guarantee you, if that's the case, she must have a nasty attitude towards African native. Not saying 100% of the time. In some part, she have some attitude towards African native descent men. And I've been surveying women that go out of their race. They they don't they don't seek the same from they seek to their own race. I have to defend my race, but that man she's with don't have to even defend her. So the uplifting is not even there. So I say to yourself, if you can't tell yourself you're beautiful, why in the world should I tell you that you're beautiful and you don't even know you're beautiful and you can't even tell yourself? I had a lady tell me I need validation. I was like, I'm with you. If you're telling me to go out and do certain things and I come back home and you say, why did you do them? Why would I go do that in the first place? That's not benefiting us. So she said, my validation is not catered. I'm like, no, I'm not going to be treated like a piece of trash and or do nice things or do good things towards you, and then you telling me it didn't matter. What's the point of doing it? That's the validation I would like. I would like a gesture of thank you. She didn't see that. But the guy, I'm not even gonna get into that, but that's her. Now let's go on to the I said the self and then each other. I can walk around and say, you did a great job. You look beautiful. Your hair look nice. I like your shoes. Oh man, that's them some nice creases. I like my clothes crease. Gotta get back more into that. I've been slacking on creasing my clothes, even my pants. And that's uplifting. The person did a work and you showing appreciation for their work. How hard is that anymore nowadays? We don't even do that no more. And for our families, man, the most the place where all of everything start at home is family. We don't even lift each other up no more. So this goes with family and each other. Well, my sister did good. The families will single out that person and say you did a great job. And if you don't do good to their standard, it's another word I want to use, but that word is not never. I gotta next time I get it, I'm gonna write it down. It's not standard I want to use. What we do to each other, but we gonna use standard for now until I get that word back. Is we got a standard. So that young lady in school had a standard by her family, which is cool. There's no problem. But I notice if you look at families, and I listen to mothers and father, especially mothers, because mother love to brag about their children. I laugh because one thing I notice, my sister may be a certain way. It may sound like I down her, but I want her to understand the true meaning of, I don't even want to say love. Just the words I like to use, like you hold the power in yourself, but your power don't have to be so strong to feel negative to people. It don't have to be demeaning. It don't have to be bashing. It don't have to be diminishing. You don't have to take away from what one person did. So for you to uplift yourself, and it's not to diss or bash you, or it's not to diss her, or it's not to take away from anything she do. But it's like she's that woman that'll say, "Well, I have a degree," and I'll say, "What does that degree mean?" I gave her the scenario with her being in church, and at the time, or just that was just an example of her the spirit gave me. She met a guy at the church. He don't have a lot of things, and she have all this and this monetary and superficial materialistic things. And I said he want to get to know you. He like he admires you. And she said I would still went and talk to him. And I say okay, let's give it 5 or 6 years because that's when the years you will want to be married or you will want to come together as companions. Just because everybody don't want to get married. So is I did the 6 year and then she still heard it. Now she even thought about it. It's like I said this like 3 4 years ago to her, maybe 5. She received me more since that day because I touched the spirit finally said, give her this. And I use this to I use a lot of different things to a woman. Like I love when women come up to me and talk to me about their man. And I say, okay, okay. And one woman I said, try not having sex with him for 2 weeks. I said no, try that a week. She's like, I can't do that. I was like, hold up, wait, you can't? I was like, why you can't? I didn't say deny him sex. I said try not having sex with him for a week. I said, okay, you can't even do. I said 2 weeks, and I said a week. I said that can be a hamper into your relationship. Try it for 2 or 3 days. I said 2 or 3 days. You telling your man this is very important to you to not have sex for 2 or 3 days, let alone 2 weeks. You wouldn't even make that far, but even a week. So 2 or 3 days. You telling me you can't tell the one you want to marry or live your life with. You tell them you don't want to have sex for 2 or 3 days. Y'all having sex like rabbits. So 2 or 3 days, you don't want to do nothing with him. You telling me it's not applicable to sustain, to deny sex? I was like, wow. I was like, good luck in that relationship, because that shows me the communications is only about sex. People can say sex is 70% of relationship. Well, so where does the mental goes in the relationship? Because if you saying 70, so you only giving your brain power a low work. So if you give a low work, you're going to get a low vibration. Think about that. If you're giving all your power to degrees, and before man and woman, before anything, degrees didn't have nothing to do with my livelihood of my relationship. So if you're giving power to that sex, before I met you, I didn't have sex with you. I didn't know you. So how you giving power to a substance, an element, or a feature or movement, even though it's natural to us after we meet, you give it power to when it had nothing to do before I even knew you. The sex I have received from you has nothing to do with the sex that I received from you before I met you. Think about that. I know it can go off a different way, but think about the penetration of you penetrating a woman, or the woman allowing you receiving him. Think about how that had nothing to do when you on your first date. I'm not talking about some people that was just out there desiring sexual gratification. I'm talking about you, even if you took 3 dates, like, because that's a discipline, and no longer even being uplifting is in the category now. It's a substance of faith and hope of things not seen. We love to use that, so because that's our American Westernization standard. It's the Bible, so I use a lot of that. Of course, that's in me because that's what I've been breeded, nurtured, and fostered to think, not to know, to think. So my uplifting is like I can't uplift you with the person I am. How are we going to build and grow and form and create together? That's another one we got to start thinking about. And when sometimes you listen to me, I don't talk like I found another guy. What was his name? I gotta Google it. I put it on my Google search. Henry Clark. Uh, it was an African native descent man, and he was like a Marcus type of Garvey. But this gentleman had so much. He thought like me. He the closest person that and I don't know none of these people. And I was watching some other. I was just Googling stuff the other day, and I found some more, man. And people always tell me I sound like a lot of people. And but you know the funniest part, I never read before I found them that day. I never people like, oh, you sound like Umar Johnson. I didn't heard this, man. I most recently, literally a month ago, finally typed him in after somebody told me that a year ago. Marcus Garvey, when somebody told me I typed him in 2, 3 months later. Never heard, and why I never heard of these men? Umar Johnson is more of a newer guy, closer to my age. But these other men are older men and that's passed away. I never heard of them. My mother and father, I went home, I asked them questions, and they'd be like, "No, I never talked about them around you. We didn't read. They didn't even read about these people like that they can recall." And I was like, "You never read a book?" He was like, "No." My father was like, "No." And he was like, "We was too busy in the sense we was raising you and just making sure y'all are okay, you and your brothers and sister." I was like, "Oh wow." And that's how I know the spirit is true to me, because if I can go back and say, if this is what happened before another man was working, and I'm working in the field. I say I'm working in the field because I'm out there talking to these young men and women. I'm asking them what's wrong. Like, let's be better. And I'm learning, and you got to learn this too. Not everybody is going to get it. Some people going to, and it's not, I call it sad because it's sad in a sense. Just because these people are 60, 70, 80, don't make them wise. But you can still uplift them. We can still uplift each other. That's a part of a element that is no longer used. We even trying to get rid of love. We getting rid of love. We trying to get rid of love. Just the I love it. I would love to see a community filled with different groups of people. I didn't say race. Different groups. People that's money building for the community. That have the money in mind. It's good to have a guy that lived next door to me as a millionaire and he see me like, hey man, I got a question about, and I don't have all the information. I remember the lady said, why would I give you the $1 million question? And I'd say, why the hell you wouldn't? Are we not trying to build a unit? Are we not trying to make each other better? Not forcefully, but in logically, practically. I can come to you. You the millionaire. I'm not desiring to. I want to be a thousandaire. That's always my thing. I'm not desiring to have 22 million dollars a year. I don't care about that. Man, that's. I can do so much with that. I wouldn't be at home. I wouldn't be able to spend time with my family because I'd be gone. I'd be in another country looking at this person creating some new revenue for them and for me and the next generation. These kids that's poor, we have a place to live. Like, what is you doing with $22 million where that's you buying a car? You're it's because you got I got $22 million. I go to these car dealerships. I know cars can drop and go. 10,000 car. I can fit in this car. It got air conditioner. The windows go up. I can close and open the door. I don't have to fix it. Here go 10. I can give you 10,000 with $22 million. I'm buying a $10,000 car. Why would I buy a $100,000 car? Why would I buy a car that's $1 million? That when I see that, I'm like, them is some dumbass people. Or people drive off of a lot. They make 260,000 a year. They go buy a $60,000 car. I'm like, what for? You literally can go to a parking. You can literally go to a dealership. You can pay for that, but I can go pay for a $20,000 car that I'm probably only gonna have for 10 years. And then by then I'd have saved up some money. I can go buy me another car. Literally, I can walk off. I can go take 10,000. I make 260,000 a year. That means in 1 month, I have literally I can have $10,000 in my hand and go give it to the dealership. But I want to go pay for a $100,000 car. I don't get this knowledge that we're doing. You're going to show me you're stupid. And all these degrees, and this is what uplifting is to me. I want to give you a better understanding because what you're doing, uplifting it, it's an extend, it's a rise. You're going up, you're getting better. If you do anything that's not pertaining to bettering yourself, you're downgrading yourself. You be making yourself a liability. See, I ain't gotta say liability to yourself. You are a liability to your own structure and element of building yourself up. You got a great job now. You gonna buy the best? No. If I see a sale and I want some furniture, I'm not gonna buy a $3,600 furniture because I just got a great job. I'm gonna buy that $1,100 furniture if I want brand new furniture. Why don't we just get that? I'm supposed to be uplifting, building myself up. You see, I don't really talk about other people because I can't really tell people what to do. All I can do is challenge and guide you into better. All I can do. Why would you make it harder for yourself? And I noticed this, and I got to say this. We put struggles on ourselves. If I see a person is using me, why would I allow that person in my house? Why do I keep doing and giving? I'm not saying don't help them. Call it out. Check it. Say, hey, this is wrong. You know you're doing wrong. But this is the things we go through in life. So as we go through, think about what is uplifting to you. And I don't mean some BS. I mean open heart, good, genuine uplifting. Are you bettering? Are you helping? And I'm not talking about other people. I'm talking about yourself. You don't get that. But I say unto one, I say unto all, it's your path, it's your journey. Choose wisely. Make better choices. It's easier. I have literally less money than a doctor, but I can smile. He have all these things, but one little thing can push him over the edge because he never took the time out to get to know himself. A man today, yesterday, or some it was like last week, killed his wife. Killed his wife because of money. Think about that. You killed someone because of money. Somebody robbed somebody and got shot because of money. Think about they trying to claim what theirs not even theirs. Oh, think about that. That has nothing to do with their livelihood. Think about that. I can eat good without having $1 million. I can eat good without having $1,000 in my pocket. Why? Because I did everything I was supposed to. I lifted myself up so my being and well-being would be up as well. If I know fried food is bad, I would eat less of it. You got to have a discipline, and that's going to be another one down the line. But I usually go off of I go by what is spiritually led for me to talk about. That's why you'll hear me say it down the line. Because if I'm not spiritually led to talk about it, I'm not going to talk about it. So on this day, think about it. Make uplifting as you work on your being generous, being kind, loving. All this to yourself first. If you don't think about nobody, think about it. Is easy for me to share what I have if I'm already doing it myself. Shalom.